Today, we're going to start off with the Nifty 50 from Sony. I'd like to demonstrate why it's such a bad choice for video if you're looking for a 50mm. Let's focus on a few things. So as you can hear, it's very loud. I do have an on-camera microphone, and it's also very, very slow. Let's try the Viltrox and see what it can do. Right, now I have the Viltrox in exactly the same settings. Let's see what this sounds like. It's a lot faster, a lot quieter. Let's jump into this lens. As you saw, the Nifty 50 from Sony is very loud. It's very slow in autofocus, and it really isn't a lens you can use for filmmaking. It's just not. I've had it for about 3 years, and I have been frustrated with it ever since. And I'm still paying for it because I bought it with my Sony a7 III and the 85mm, which I put up against the Viltrox 85mm a few days ago. You can see it right up here. This is the Nifty 50 from Viltrox, and I was very excited when I heard about it because, like I said, I was frustrated with this. I couldn't use this for video work, which, believe it or not, as a YouTuber, I do quite a lot of. So Viltrox, them coming out with this was fantastic. Now, it lives up to the Viltrox, series of lenses, because I've done the 24mm, which was better than the Sony GM 24mm, the 85mm, now the 50, and I'm also waiting for the 35mm, which is also at 1.8 from them. No doubt my favorite focal length. But today, the 50mm, which comes in at $379 as opposed to $248. So for $130 more, you're getting a lens that is silent, that can do video work, that can be updated, because with the Sony, you buy this and you're basically left frustrated with it as it is a piece of crap. The Viltrox, you can update it via USB-C, and that means that Viltrox working on the lenses, improving automatic focus speed. They've even changed the lens from f1.8 to f1.6, which is just, mind-blowing. Another thing the Viltrox has is a aperture ring, which has also been made with filmmakers in mind because it's declicked, which means that when you're going into different lighting situations, you can smoothly change the aperture and not have this kind of look you have when you're changing with a clicked aperture. The Sony does not have an aperture ring, but it does have a focus ring, so you can use it manually, but the focus ring is horribly horrible. It's very bad, whereas the Viltrox has a nice focus ring, all metal, because this comes in at 350 grams, by the way. This comes in at 186 grams, so it's, you can feel you've bought something, something solid, but it's very nice. It is very nice. So changing focus manually is very nice. And inside you have an STM with lead screw motor, which makes this thing very fast, very precise, and very smooth. Whereas this has got something called a DC actuator. I'm guessing they put a few heavy metal bands inside, recorded, the noise, and used it as an AF focus motor sound, because it's just terrible. Anyway, let's check out some face, focus of me walking, disappearing in front of the lens, and let's put them up against each other. So as you can see, the Viltrox does a much better job, and you probably couldn't hear it because there was no sound, but the Sony was very loud and very awkward. It also hunts a lot when it's, darker, whereas the Viltrox, I haven't had any problems with it at all. When we're talking about balls, by the way, Viltrox always has nice balls. Sony, maybe not the best balls. This has got 9 aperture blades, whereas the Sony only has 7. So if you look at these balls, you'll see what I mean. Viltrox, well done on the balls. It's a very good job. Filters. We use filters a lot as creators. We're talking about 49mm here and a 55mm here. So the filter's a little bit larger, which makes it a lot easier when it comes to step up and step down filters. Because I normally use an 82, so I just have to step up a little bit. I know Freewell has actually done some really nice step up filters, so you can check those out if you need step up filters for your ND filters, which you can use. For example, because this goes from f1.8 to f16, whereas this goes from f1.8 to f22. It is a stop darker, although I never shoot fully closed down because that is when the lens is performing at its worst. I would much prefer to put on an ND filter when it comes to the Viltrox and have a better lens instead of the one extra stop. The Sony also focuses a little bit closer, and when I say a little bit, I mean 10 centimeters, because a standard for a lens is its focal length, so it should focus at, say, 50 centimeters, where Sony does 45 centimeters, the Viltrox does 55 centimeters. Is that a deal breaker for me? Not really, just check out how close you can punch in with them. So the Sony does get a little bit closer. Sharpness, let's have a look at some examples. On the left we have Viltrox, on the right we have Sony. As you can see at 1.8, the Viltrox is a lot sharper than the Sony, and this is more or less the middle of the frame. If we go down to 2.8, once again Viltrox on the left, you can still see the Viltrox has an upper hand. It is still quite a bit sharper at 2.8. Which does make quite a difference because buying this lens, we're mostly going to be shooting at 1.8 or 2.8. Now, if we drop down to 5.6, the lens is more or less even out, but the Viltrox, to me, still stands out a little bit as the sharper lens. The Sony is a bit more contrasty, and generally, I'm a fan of the Viltrox. Another thing is focus breathing. As a filmmaker, I really don't like it when the image changes width, size, when you're changing focus. The 24 GM has really bad focus breathing. The 24mm from Viltrox, insanely good. You can check it up right here. So let's check these two out when it comes to focus breathing. So as you can see, the Viltrox does a better job. It also has 11 elements in 10 groups, and the Sony has 6 elements in 5 groups. It's a lot larger, so it can fit more elements and groups inside it, and no doubt why it's faster, smoother, and a lot quieter. Neither of them have web sealing, neither of them have image stabilization, though I keep on telling you that's not a huge problem. No cinema camera has image stabilization. You just deal with it, and most cameras nowadays, they have IS in body, so you don't really have to go crazy overkill with the image stabilization in lens. Another thing the Viltrox has is HD nano coating, right there on the front. That's why it's all, funky, and that stops ghosting and flaring and all that kind of stuff. The Sony has some HD nano coating. No, I'm guessing it's just a normal kind of spray on tan, but you get sun hoods with them, you get caps, so you get everything you need with these two lenses. For a final, little bit, let's check out some photo examples just of me outside taking photos of, just general things with the Viltrox.
Josh, don't do that shit. Knocking, boots broom on Miley. When I pop out like a likeness. Polished, briefcase, no wallet. Just blew a bag like Scotsman. Killed that, in the AM going real fast. UK honey at the drill that bonds me. Bailed out, no conflict. Might have said I love her, but I never made a promise. She want seed, told her nothing in a blossom. Badging me for info at the shipper to Wisconsin. Only good for the lozenge. My whole contact list said it, I don't even want it. Sing, show the jet love.
So it's a beautiful lens. It does a great job. It's quiet, it's fast. It, you know, weighs a bit, which is good because when you're filming, you want your gear to weigh you down, or else you're going to be like this. If it weighs, it's nice, heavy, and smooth. Let's put the Sony aside forever because I'm not going to use that anymore. The Viltrox is a lens I can highly recommend, as well as the other lenses. I can't wait for the 35mm. That should be coming soon. I'll drop a film as soon as I get it. Any questions, drop them below, comments, you know, likes if you did like my film. That does help me and my channel, and it helps the film a lot. And if you haven't subscribed, I'd consider doing that because, you know, just because it's going to be pretty cool of you. Viltrox, thanks a lot. And completely forgot what I was going to say. It was going to be cool though. I can assure you it was going to be cool.